This episode of Power Women of the Trades is also brought to you by Forrest Perry of Forrest Perry Digital Marketing. Want to generate more leads for your service business? Trust his team to deliver quality new customer leads and protect your brand online. Check out perrymarketing.com today.
Most businesses' online presence is boring, and by being boring, they're losing out on potential sales and customers. Being interesting and exciting is what draws customers in and gets them to buy from you. But it's hard to be interesting online when you're focused on running your business and taking care of your customers. It doesn't have to be this way. We have the key to unlocking the solution to your problem. Key Heart Marketing can help take your business from boring to brilliant on social media. We can vouch for them. They run our podcast socials. If you want to have a strong social media presence that allows customers to know, like, and trust you, connect with Key Heart Marketing at keyheartmarketing.com.
Hey everyone, this is Eric Thomas with Rival Digital, and I am proud to announce that we are the newest sponsor for the Power Women of the Trades podcast. We've been a big fan and supporter of the show for years, and we are just very excited and very honored for the opportunity to now be one of the podcast sponsors. So make sure you check out their page and subscribe to the podcast and listen in on wherever you get your podcast episodes from. Rival Digital is a full-service premier digital marketing agency for the home services industry. We offer everything from website design, search engine optimization, online advertising, public relations, and more. If you're interested in learning more about the services we offer for contractors just like yourself, head on over to rivaldigital.com, and we look forward to chatting with you.
Welcome to Power Women of the Trades podcast. This show is all about breaking barriers and changing the game. Our guests will feature some of today's most successful female entrepreneurs and other advocates of our industry as well. Because if there's one thing we know for sure, female-led entrepreneurship drives change on multiple levels. We want to empower women in the trade industry like you so you can maximize your potential, stay balanced, achieve long-term success, and claim ownership over your life. Let's get started.
Welcome back to Power Women of the Trades with Cassie and Kailee.
Hey.
Hey. Today we have Lauren Martin from Seaside Plumbing. Welcome to the show, Lauren.
Hey.
I'm so excited. So listen, I was excited when I saw your name come up. I know you, but I don't know you, but I know. Do you feel that way? You're a Nick star, correct? Right? Yeah. Okay. I'm like, right? Did I make this up? No. Okay. And we had a mutual coach, Jeff Stagnoli.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I love Jeff. And for a long time, when we were like really in our intro, maybe not intro, but like he would always refer to you guys, and which I always appreciated when I could like have goals and like look at things that were like someone else was doing. And so anyways, he always spoke very, very highly of you guys. So
yeah, same with you guys. He spoke about you guys a lot too. So I don't know you, but I feel like I know a little bit about you.
Isn't it funny how that happens? You're just like, hey, we know each other, but we don't.
Yeah.
So awesome. Well, tell us about yourself and how you got into the trades.
Yeah. So, kind of the classic like husband wife story. So my husband was a master plumber. Like the joke is when I met him, my father is an accountant and I'm now a CPA also. And when I met Josh, he hadn't filed his taxes for several years. And one of the first things that we did was go to his accountant's office after like 3 months of dating and made sure all of his taxes were filed for the last couple of years.
We're not going any further unless I know I'm not going to jail with you.
Yeah. And like, he was on the up and up. He had gotten an extension. But I was like, can't date a man who's like on the lam from the IRS. Like, we got to get this straight, So, so that was like kind of how it started. And that was in 2003. And he had just started the business in 2003, the year we met actually. And for about 15 years, we did a whole bunch of new construction, plumbing, and just getting chewed up and spit out by builders all day long. And it took us 15 years of tons and tons of pain to finally learn that lesson, thanks to Jeff Stagnoli.
How many times, Kaylee, have we heard this story?
A lot.
There's so many people. And like every time I feel bad because there's someone today still doing new construction because somebody has to, but it is not made for anybody to make money but the general contractor.
No, it's awful. Yeah. And honestly, we didn't learn the lesson until we had 2 kids. It was like the month my daughter was born, our second kid, was one of our worst months in business ever. And, I remember like sitting in my living room on our sunroom couch and talking to Jeff and him just being like, all right, let's crunch the numbers. What would it have looked like if you had no new construction? It was just service. And we did, and we crunched the numbers and we would have broken even. And it was like in that moment, I was like, gosh, we gotta get out. So we made the decision then. And yeah, I wish it wouldn't have taken us 15 years and it would have been easier to make that switch to service only before we had kids because it's
what do you think because it's like the same story with us, right? It wasn't 15 years, but it freaking seemed like 15 years, but it took us about 7 years, 6 or 7 years to get out of new construction. And what do you think the thrill was? Like, what do you think made you hold on to it for so long?
I don't think there was any thrill whatsoever, to be honest. I think it was just fear,
Well, then we were.
Yeah. Like, because Jeff still like, will bring this up when I talk to him today. Like when we made this switch, like we were just afraid, like new construction was all we knew. Service was new. It was scary. It's like running a completely different business. Like you guys know, if you were down that road too, like it's a totally different business. So it was a lot to learn. Grateful for Nexstar, grateful for Jeff. But I remember when we sold off that part of our business, finally, it was October of 2018, 2 months after Jeff and I kind of had that conversation. It really opened my eyes. And we went down at the time, I think we had like maybe between 15, 20 employees. 80% of our work was new construction, and we cut down to 8 of us, including Josh and I, 3 technicians. And I remember arguing with Jeff and saying, you don't understand. We'll never keep 3 technicians busy. We'll never keep 3 technicians busy around here. It's just different. We'll never do it. And he laughed. Like he would just laugh when I said it. And he still reminds me of that, because right now we have about 26 technicians on the road, plus a separate drain team of about 4 to 5 individuals right now. And he'll just kind of say, remember when you thought you couldn't keep 3 of them busy?
It's like the famous last words too. Like, it's just different. You don't know Tulsa. You don't know Tulsa. It's the Wild West out here, Jeff, or whoever, right? We've all said the same thing, because you can make like whatever excuse you want for your market, because you just you think you know your market better. And there's still, I think that's, hold on, I'm going on a tangent.
It's all right.
I think that's why private equity thinks they could come in, because they're just like, it's business and it's this and that. And I think that's why private equity thinks that would be able to win for so long. But at the end of the day, we are still the masters of our market, and we are still right. We just had to reshape what was possible in our own brains, because I feel like it's kind of like identity things too. Like for me, I always felt like I wasn't capable of owning a business that would employ that many people.
Oh, hell no. Like I would have never, like if you would have fast forwarded and said, oh, because 2019 was our first year without it. If you would have fast forwarded to today and said, 6 to 7 years later, we would have over 80 employees, I'd be like, no, that's not going to happen. Okay. So it is weird. Like there's fear. It's like a huge identity shift. It's scary. You know, like I've never run a plumbing company of our size of, you know, $10 to $12 million before. Like I don't like, you know, like I don't have the roadmap for this. Thankfully, like Nexstar does, and, you know, having Jeff and having other companies to rely on and learn from. But yeah, like it's hard. Like it's really, really hard. So I wish that we would have not been so stubborn and learned that lesson a lot sooner. But honestly, I think that we really needed all of those 15 years of pain, because there have been a few instances where, you know, like some of our managers and plumbers, like they might start to like kind of seep back in, oh, like let's just look at this job. And it's like, no, like Josh and I are like a hard no. Yeah. Hell no, we'll never go back. We're not doing it. I don't care. You know, because people see that like shiny number of like, we're in a resort town, so we have a lot of condos, and they're like, the whole condo of like 500 units wants to replace their water heaters. And we're like, hell no, not touching it. Not touching it. And everybody's like, why, you're crazy. And I'm like, trust me, no, we're not. So, but I think if we didn't have 15 years of being chewed up and spit out and breaking even and laying in bed and worrying about payroll and all that, like I think that we would have more easily slipped back into some of that today. So yeah,
for sure. And I think just in general, you just kind of have to like grow up as an owner, and I mean that like in a lot of ways. You just have to. Kailee and I talk about this a lot. Just, you know, she is our marketing director, and she's been with us for almost 4 years. 4 years now. And like the changes of, or like the growth that she's had in the 4 years is incredible. So then because I can look at my team and be like, you've grown so much, but I wouldn't always give myself credit for how I've grown, you know? And so I think as owners, we need to look back and be like, bro, you know, I've gotten a little bit better, just because sometimes I'm like, you don't know the crazy Cassie, because you have been blessed, my son. I did not just physically, it's not, you know, the only credibility I give myself for growth. But when we've been through those trenches, but hey, we've the same way. Like I remember maybe 2 or 3 years ago, Jeff was like, you need 5 salesmen. And I was like, bro, you're drunk. Like there ain't no way we can keep 5 salesmen busy.
Yeah.
Absolutely not. And we do all 3 trades. And so I was like, there is no way, you know, and he's like, you're going into this summer, you're going to regret this, yada, yada, yada. Well, sure as shit. We went into summer, did not have 5. We regretted it, right? Today we have like 7, I think. I almost said 6, 7 again. I'm about to punch myself in the face.
I know. I said it once already too.
I'm like, my kids are going to kill me. But you know, like you have to, when the growth happens, sometimes we are in denial.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%. It is like such a mindset thing too. I'm a big fan of Dan Sullivan. I don't know if you guys are familiar with him. Like Who Not How, The Gap in the Gain, but like constantly, like my tendency, and I feel like a lot of other owners have the same tendency, is like always measuring yourself against like the horizon, against where you think you should be, you know, against like that ideal. And I constantly catch myself in it. And it's like a really miserable place to live, because you'll never be happy. And to kind of just like pause and look back instead at like where you started and how much progress you've made. Like it's a constant struggle to kind of pause and do that, you know?
Yeah. Okay. So I'm sorry, Kailee, I felt like you were about to say something and I interrupted her, but okay. But wait, it just dawned on me. So you dropped new construction in 2018, you're trying to get your bearings, and then COVID.
Yeah. And honestly, COVID was rough for us for about a month or 2, like just in that beginning, stage of like craziness. But then we got crazy busy like mid 2020. And it also kind of helped too, because we are in a seasonal resort town. So what we kind of found was like, especially once the weather got a little bit warmer, a whole bunch of people started coming down here to get out of like the like DC, Baltimore, Philadelphia. So honestly, I I feel like it worked in our favor in terms of the business, at least, with the exception of like the first like month or two, that was just like scary as hell. We were like begging people, like, can we just look in your crawl space? Like, like doing inspections, like whatever we can, just to like keep everybody like on payroll, and it was rough for like, it was really like maybe a month or two. But then like the tide shifted, and we were just crazy busy. So
I think that's like the big thing too, is like if you didn't grow during COVID, then you weren't paying attention because or you didn't have a grip on your business, because it was really easy to grow. And but it was scary at first. So there's a few people that I've talked to that actually didn't grow as much as they could have because they knee-jerk reacted and like laid off their entire team in that first month.
Honestly, Jeff's chirping in my head right now, because I remember like talking to him in some of this, or like, during some of it, and like, he told us stories about companies doing that, and he's like, stay the course, stay the course, stay the course. Like, don't react, just stay the course, outbound your asses off. Everybody was outbounding, everybody, like all of our managers, everybody. We were like trying to have contests to see, how many calls we could book and stuff. But like he spoke about that a lot. Like, as soon as you start to react and like cut one person, it just kind of sets off this chain reaction of fear, kind of, So I'm super grateful. I don't know exactly what our growth numbers were, but like we doubled for a couple years there from like 2019, 2020, 21. So we had tons and tons of growth. So
Awesome. That's awesome. So what inspired you to start Seaside Toolbox Academy, and when did you start it?
So we're super involved in our community and our local schools, always have been really, and I've always been really passionate about it. The trades have been so amazing for our family. I feel like plumbers are more important than doctors, and they should be paid as such and treated as such. And I also see like dentists and firefighters going into our kids' elementary schools, and like, why not plumbers and tradespeople, So we've always been super involved, boots on the ground in schools. We have a partnership with the local technical high school. They kind of joke about it because they didn't have a plumbing program, and I bothered them for probably like 3 or 4 years. And when they finally met with us, they joked and they were like, you reached out so many times. We were like, forget it, just schedule a meeting with her already so she'll leave us alone. And now we have this great partnership with them. And a tech with us who's been with us since he's 16. He's 20 years old now. So it's just really cool to see that. So in doing all that, what we found was all of that wonderful outreach and being in schools and growing our own and our training is great. It is so not profitable though. So we decided to just make it official. And we, started our own nonprofit. We got our 501c3 status in December of 2024. We have an executive director now that started a couple months ago. So she's really hitting the ground running. She's at an event today, this junior achievement event with, I think there's like thousands of 8th graders that go through there to learn about different careers and stuff. So it kind of came from a place of like, hey, we love to do this. We want to do more of it. But we also need to run a profitable business on the plumbing side. Yeah. So let's like separate the two. And thankfully, prior to that, we did get a lot of grant funding from our state, which was awesome, and different local organizations. And I am on the board of Explore the Trades. I sit on our local workforce development board too. So it's always kind of been something we're passionate about. And now that it's its own entity, we're hoping to kind of be able to do a little bit more. So
I love that. And awesome. I love like that, how you separated it out. I've circled that to like look at for ourselves, because that's the same thing. Like we have done a lot with our community and our high school. We've had signing days where, we've had employees that like have worked for us and they're here and they've done all these things, but we just footed the bill on that. Right. And so, and then there's so much that you can get or cannot get because you're not a nonprofit. And so it's a really interesting approach. Is that the word I'm looking for? Or like, I'm thinking like, why the hell haven't I done that?
And honestly, like, the state of Maryland is, they're super supportive of apprenticeships right now, because there's this initiative to get 45% of graduating high schoolers in an apprenticeship by 2030, which is pretty aggressive. And they're doing a lot of different things to try to get there, which I don't necessarily agree with. But at the end of the day, like, what we kind of saw was a lot of the grant funding we were getting that was helping us foot the bill for what we were doing was starting to dry up. So to your point, getting the nonprofit status opens us up to a whole lot more. So, and don't get me wrong, like, Seaside is still footing a bill right now for the nonprofit while it's continuing to, like, get up and running. But it's nice that we're, our executive director is doing an awesome job. She's applying for grants left and right. She's gotten some donations coming in. We have an event coming up in May. So yeah, it's been super helpful to kind of separate those two things, because that's ultimately, like, in a perfect world, that's where I'd be spending more of my time every day. So
yeah, I love that.
I love it.
For sure.
That's so cool.
So where do you guys see that program going?
Yeah. So there's like three main things that we're really focusing on. So the one is like the continuation of the school outreach from elementary all the way through high school. Because part of it too is I feel like, and bear with me here so I can kind of bring it full circle of why this makes sense all around. But I feel like there's all these like deep-seated stereotypes about the trades, specifically plumbers. Like, I think plumbers are the redheaded stepchild of the trades, like electricians are a little bit sexier than plumbers for whatever reason. Mm-hmm. So, that being said, I feel like there's this huge shift that needs to happen in stereotypes, and it's like a generational thing. So I feel like the work goes deep and it starts with kids. Mm-hmm. So that's why we go into elementary schools and, not only like showing them that there's a different path for a career that's not going to put them in debt, but also like thinking further down the road, like, I mean, I'm sure you guys deal with it all the time, but like, what's the number one objection your technicians get? It's price. Mm-hmm. And I feel like that, for us at least, I feel like that goes back to like the value that's built. Like, nobody argues with their doctor about the price of a surgery. Right. Nobody shops it out. Nobody questions that. And like, I really think that plumbing should be treated the same way. Like, it's just as important, if not more so. So I feel like it's kind of like a twofold thing of like, not only showing people that there's these career paths, but also like building the value and respect for the trades. And then hopefully one day we don't have to deal with like all of these stereotypes that we are now, and people just like undervaluing what we do every day.
Leslie used to say we were trying to bring sexy back to plumbing. And then she was like, really just make plumbing sexy, right? But it's plumbers or either the butt crack plumbers or the guys that from prison or the scary van or whatever, right? And even the HVAC techs and the electricians get that same stereotype, but not as bad as plumbers do. Yeah. And so I really agree with you on that. And that's something that we've talked about a ton of, like having like pride in with our team specifically, and going back to price, it's like, hey, if someone doesn't like our price, that's fine. I like, remember what you make an hour.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like how far you've come, and like how we're capable of doing that, right? Yeah. But we can't just do that with magic money, unfortunately.
100%. I was trying to find, and I don't think I have it. I have last year's, but I'll have to mail you guys our sexy plumber calendar. We do a photo shoot every year, and it is amazing. But it's our plumbers like get super into it. And they're in like cutoffs and all sorts of things.
Oh my God.
We've been joking about doing this with our entire company because we do all the trades, because they're hams. They really, it's so funny. Like, we had someone one time say, how do you get your technicians to be in your TikToks and all your stuff? And I'm like, what do you mean? Like, they ask to be in them now. They get excited and they want to be a part of it. And to some piece of it, I think that we're in your company the same, like, you're helping these guys find in women find an identity inside themselves that they didn't know had any value because they were told, as much as we're trying to get these kids and the world to change their perception of plumbers, we have to fix the perception of plumbers to our plumbers.
Absolutely.
Like,
Absolutely.
you are valuable. You know what you're doing. You are trained. You are just as qualified, maybe not qualified to do surgery, okay? But you are just as important as that doctor. And I can't remember the statistic, but if all of the water shut off to the world, how quickly we would all be dead.
Yeah.
What was that number, right? Like,
super quick.
It was pretty quick, right? And so, you know, I try to remind our plumbing team, like, y'all are pretty necessary, you know?
I know. We preach it all the time. Like, you know, when you discount on a job and when you kind of like let a customer get in your head, you know, when you don't believe in our price, you're really just not believing in yourself.
Right.
Like that's all it boils down to, you know, we preach it all the time. Like, you know, and Jeff has shared with us too. And we use this analogy too about like McDonald's on any given quarter, their net profit is 25 to 35%. And the trades usually single digits, you know? So it's like, why is that, you know? So yeah, I'm a big believer in that. Like just people having to understand that they are worth it. And it's a huge shift. Like it really is.
Yeah, for sure.
For sure.
This has been Power Women of the Trades. Like what you hear so far? Leave us a review at Apple and make sure to listen to our other episodes wherever you enjoy listening to your podcasts. Thanks for listening, and we'll catch you on the next one.